Voilà. Je vous présente l'honorable Benoît Charette, ministre des Transports, un homme qui est en tête de la lutte pour l'acceptation de l'interdiction de l'antisémitisme de IRA et beaucoup des autres choses que ce gouvernement de Legault a fait. Et cette flamme de courage, Benoît, est une bonne amie. Bonne fête. Bravo!
Un petit mot, ce n'était pas prévu. Très, très heureux d'être avec vous ce soir. Merci naturellement à Beryl, mais surtout merci à chacune d'entre vous. On l'a mentionné, la lutte à l'antisémitisme, c'est l'affaire de tous. Il faut avoir un certain courage pour se lever dans certaines circonstances et je reconnais les gens qui sont sur la scène. Donc, merci pour votre implication. Et vous avez, à travers votre communauté, d'excellentes voix aussi qu'il faut aider à faire porter. Donc, un privilège d'être avec vous ce soir. Merci beaucoup.
I want to remind many of you, because many of you will remember this, but this man stood on this stage, in this spot, some years ago, and said, we stand with the Jewish community today, we stand with the Jewish community tomorrow, and we have to stand with the Jewish community forever. He said that from here. This government also did something that many would say, well, that's got nothing to do with anti-Semitism. Well, it does, because, and I know what went on in the back rooms, and I was involved with this, and I know the opposition to it. In January of 2025, le gouvernement Legault ouvert un bureau de Québec à Israël. And if anybody thinks that the blood-curdling screams of the anti-Semites and the Islamists in the streets of Montreal and even Quebec City were not heard, they're wrong. Le gouvernement de Premier Legault, Monsieur Legault lui-même, les ministres, a écouté les mots de haine. And they did it anyway. And it was not lost on them que s'il y a une soumission sur la question d'Israël, il sera une soumission sur chaque chose. La première livre sur souveraineté, en 1960, écrit par Marcel Chaput, qui s'appelle « Pourquoi je suis un souverainiste ». Petit livre, 125 pages. Le modèle pour Québec était Israël. René Lévesque, pour une raison ou l'autre, il ne peut pas aller dans l'armée canadienne et il veut aller au front à Europe. So he joined the American Army as a journalist. He was the first Canadian journalist into Buchenwald and Dachau. It never left him. Our agenda is, curiously, I say curiously because of what our internal media sometimes likes to think, that somehow the French-English debate is somehow against the Jews. Well, it's not. We've put ourselves in a corner. We can choose which side to be on. Christopher Skeet, the Honorable Christopher Skeet, is the Minister of International Relations of Quebec and the minister in the fight against racism. He couldn't be here tonight because, as it happens, there's a tradition that a week before la Fête Nationale is the Premier's diplomatic reception, and he's Minister of International Relations, so he had to be in Quebec. But he did send this message to us all, and his award awaits him. Gabriel, please.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. C'est avec un immense regret que je ne peux être parmi vous aujourd'hui en personne pour un événement qui me tient profondément à cœur. Permettez-moi d'être très clair. Mon absence physique ne reflète en rien mon engagement envers la cause que vous défendez. Ce soir, l'Institut des affaires publiques de Montréal rend hommage à des femmes et des hommes exceptionnels, des alliés contre l'antisémitisme, en leur décernant le prix de la Flamme du courage. Et quel nom juste, car il faut du courage pour nommer la haine. Il faut du courage pour refuser les mensonges qui circulent et qui alimentent la peur et la violence envers la communauté juive. Le Québec a une tradition de solidarité, d'ouverture et de justice. Les leaders que vous avez honorés ce soir, mais y incarnent cette tradition. Je tiens à remercier M. Weissman pour l'organisation de cet événement ainsi que pour le prix qu'il me décerne. À tous les autres qui reçoivent un prix ce soir, j'aimerais vous dire un énorme merci. Merci au nom des valeurs communes. Merci au nom des Québécois pour votre lutte contre la haine. Merci au nom de notre humanité partagée pour tout ce que vous faites de bien. Merci et bonne soirée à tous.
All right, Harry just told me about the senators. Ministers come first, then senators. Maybe I'm wrong on that because I found out, so the flags behind everybody represent their communities, represent their cultural heritage. So I did the protocol right on Canada, Quebec, and Montreal. It's left to right, that's the way it's got to be. But apparently there's a choice for guest countries. You can put them up any way you want, and if nobody objects. But believe it or not, you're supposed to put them up by alphabetical order. So I have to apologize to Harry, because by alphabetical order, Armenia should have come first. And Joe, I gave Italy, a place of honor right away. So, we may have to switch, so work it out with Harry. Do me a favor. Both senators who were supposed to be here tonight, well, Senator Housakis could not be here. He's government leader in the Senate. The Senate is sitting until Friday. Senator Lafreda was supposed to be here. And at the last minute, something happened, but he did send remarks. And frankly, I'm happier that you're delivering them than he, and you're going to be much more charming. So.
Thank you, Beryl. Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Selva, and I'm honored to be here this evening on behalf of Senator Tony Lafreda. It is also deeply meaningful for me to be here. I have been a longtime family friend of the Eob family, who have been members of this synagogue for many years, and it is truly an honor to return to Congregation Shomer Labuker. Just a few weeks ago, I was here for the commemoration of Operation Solomon. I've had the privilege of knowing Senator Lafreda for many years, going back to our time together at the Royal Bank of Canada. Over the years, I've known him as a respected colleague, a mentor, and a leader of great integrity. Senator Lafreda deeply regrets that he cannot be here in person tonight. Due to circumstances beyond his control, he's unfortunately unable to join you this evening, as he's currently in Ottawa in his capacity as chair of the Senate board and could not step away. He's asked me to convey how much he wishes he could have been here for this meaningful occasion. Although he cannot be here, his appreciation for this community is sincere and long-standing. Senator Lafreda has always spoken with great respect about the strength, courage, and importance of the Jewish community in Quebec, and about the need to stand firmly against anti-Semitism, hatred, and misinformation. He has also wanted me to personally express his deep admiration for the courage and resilience of this community, especially during a time when standing up against anti-Semitism requires not only words, but conviction, solidarity, and moral clarity. He's deeply honored to receive the Flame of Courage Award from the Institute for Public Affairs of Montreal. On his behalf, I would like to thank Beryl, the Institute for Public Affairs of Montreal, Congregation Shomer Labuker, and everyone present this evening for this meaningful recognition. Senator Lafreda accepts this award with humility, gratitude, and continued commitment to stand with the Jewish community and all those working to combat anti-Semitism. To this community, thank you for your courage, your resilience, and your leadership, On behalf of Senator Tony Lafreda, thank you, stay strong, merci, and toda.
We only use Hebrew biblical names here. Avant que je présente Plan de courage à M. Coder, je sais qu'il va comprendre pourquoi je pose. L'honorable Marlene Jennings was supposed to be with us tonight. Yesterday, they just inaugurated the Marlene Jennings Service Award. She is under treatment for certain things and is under terrible painkillers. She just could not make it. But I want to underline to you, she was the first. She was the first woman who broke through politically in certain areas. She was the first woman on the Quebec Police Commission. In the middle of her battles for black civil rights, as an MP, in whatever she did, she never forgot that in America, black civil rights had partners, and those partners were the Jews. In every picture that Martin Luther King Jr. marched, there was Rabbi Heschel on one side, Rabbi Prince on another side, Rabbi Herzberg on the third side. She's been a loyal friend, and I talked to you earlier about standing shoulder to shoulder. I brought this just to show you. You won't see the picture, but you'll read the headline. This was 2012. The headline said, Reprenons la rue, taking back the street. In 2012, Amir Kadir, the co-founder of Quebec Solidaire, decided to boycott a shoe store on St. Denis because it had the audacity to sell Israeli sandals. So every Saturday, there were his people, and I decided to make a counter demonstration every Saturday. You'll excuse me, Rabbi. And there's Marlene. Every Saturday. There's also Lawrence Bergman, François Bonnardel, Eric Duhem. And we took back the street. That's Marlene Jennings, shoulder to shoulder. She had every platform. She didn't need to stand on snowy, wintry February streets, but she did because she understood that that cements the bonds. L'Honorable Denis Coderre understands cementing the bonds too. Come here. You have to stand up. Yes, exercise is good for you. I've talked to you about the naming ceremony.
No more speech, it's okay.
No, you get to talk now.
I will.
You go ahead. You will. But he has been involved in every need of our community, against every hatred against our community. And believe me, there was nothing political to be gained. Ladies and gentlemen, Denis Coderre, the Honorable Denis Coderre.
Come on, I need some love. Come on. There we go. Well, tonight I'm Jewish. Encore. But I keep everything. Okay. I only have one thing to say. Am Israel Chai. But the time has come to stop, to shut up, and act. Because right now, it's good about courage. I need the flame, thank you. But we need to put the right people at the right place. So that's why Benoit was efficient. That's why Leslie is efficient. That's why all the politicians who took a stand didn't wait for cutting the ribbon or gain something. They just made a statement because that's what we have to do. If we're not doing that, well, my friend, it's like an eternal rehearsal. You suffer la Shoah, you suffer many, many things. Time to stop to shut up. We need to have a raw room. We need to stop to be neutral. And it's universal. If we want to keep the kind of society we want and to protect it, it means that from the Jewish, the Armenians, and all the community, you are a citizen, you have the right. I salute all the security. I said hi to the police, they say hi to me now. But I said, this is not the type of society I want. You know, it was great to see what happened in Montreal North. But I'd like to see the same thing because, you know, I was the Minister of Immigration who put Hezbollah and Hamas as a terrorist list. So, if you want to make sure that we have the right to be full citizen, I don't want to see Rabbi Shire to be said by the police, would you put aside because there's a rally right now, we're sorry about it. So no time to shut up, okay? A citizen is a citizen is a citizen. Well, it didn't show that I had a stroke 2 years ago because nobody can shut up me, that's for sure. Listen. That's where I learned it from. That's what?
That's where I learned it from you.
I know. You speak too long, so that's my fault. Okay, good. No wonder it's free. I had a speech. It's good. Okay, voila. You know, on a more personal, I love you too. It's okay, don't worry. I'll still respect you in the morning. I'm French, so I don't know if it's funny or what. That doesn't matter. Well, on a personal note, listen. 3 years ago, well, first thing, because I have my friend here, when I lost my election in 2017, now I learned that all the Jewish don't live in Montreal. That's why I lost. Okay. So we have to make sure that Amstead, Côte-Saint-Luc, and Westmount vote in Montreal next time. Okay, good. I made a vow to the survival. I said, no matter what's the outcoming of the election, I would do the March of the Living. One of the greatest moments of my life was when in 2018, I've done the March of the Living. I visit Auschwitz, I visit Birkenau, and then we celebrate the 70th anniversary of Israel. That's why I said, Am Israel Chai. So all those people, I hope it won't be on YouTube. I don't give a shit. All I'm saying is that the so-called genocide from the Palestinians, if they would have signed the Oslo agreement, we would be there. I don't care about 2 states in Israel as long as everybody respect the right to live to Israel. That's it. That's all. Finally, by the way, I'm available. So if you want me to learn Hebrew, I need a Jewish girl, okay? So you take care. That's my Jewish humor. You know that. You know, I said 3 years ago, I had a stroke. I couldn't walk and I couldn't talk. And the minute I start to talk again, my first speech was at Square Victoria in front of 5,000 people to say to Madame Plante, you know, when they ask me if I have some food problem, I said, only one Plante, and she's in the City Hall. That's my allergy. I said, time to stop to shut up. I congratulate Leslie because tonight there was supposed to be, or last night, there was supposed to be a so-called motion from Projet Montréal, which is the school guy of Québec Solidaire, over my dead body, okay? There's no way we should talk about genocide. One of the best ever country in the Middle East who is true democratic is Israel. We have to protect Israel. So tell her she's doing a great job. If you need advice, you call me. Okay, go on the front. So I want to thank you for your friendship. I want to thank you for your love. I think that the reason why there's two solitudes, I don't want to build wall. I want to build bridges. And I think that the more we talk with the Jewish community and we bring all the people together, we make a great city out of it, okay? So thank you very much. God bless. À la prochaine. Merci beaucoup. Bravo, Benoît, pour tout ce que tu as fait. Merci, Beryl, pour ton aide. Now people start to yawn, so I'll stop here.
Not yawning.
Thank you. All right.
They're just hungry.
Do I have a picture?
Now that we finished with the senators and the honorables,
No, you put it back. You could probably hear me without a mic just as well. Before we finish with the honorables, I have to just recognize a dear friend of all of Montreal, a great Canadian, a great minister, a great MP, the Honorable Jerry Wiener, who came in for tonight. Reverend Ken Godon. What I said about you can be said about very few churchmen and churchwomen today. It would be nice had they made the print black so I could see it. But you've truly been an inspiration. You've truly been a comfort to many people in this city and to your parishioners downtown. Not just to this community in the question of anti-Semitism, but to the poor and the downtrodden in the center of this city that you've served so well. It's my pleasure to give you this. Thank
you. It's an honor truly to stand here. So I think the word stand means a lot to me tonight. We stand with, we stand for, we stand against. We want to be the first to stand when it's important to stand. There's two words that mean a lot to me tonight. One of my favorite Hebrew words is ahava, which I learned when I went to Israel and studied Hebrew to be a pastor. And it's about love. We stand against something because we love a people. So my wife and I, my wife Valerie, who is here, we try to teach the congregation to love our roots, Judeo-Christian roots. What we have... So we are a people that are joined because of that, a history we share. And for me, it's so important to stand with the Jewish people and with Israel. You can't separate the two. You can't say, well, I'm against this, but I'm for that. They go together. Now, there's a selfish reason that I do this too. One of the reasons I want to stand with the Jewish people is because I want to be blessed by God. Right? And God, if you bless the people of Israel, you will be blessed. And I don't have to say the other part, right? We know what it is. So I want the blessing, and this is for all the nations. When we stand with the nation God chose to bless all the other nations, we're blessing everybody. We're showing love to everyone. And so that means Barbados, that means Greece, that means Iran, that means everybody. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend. I don't know how to break the news to you, but this is sort of a quasi-Jewish event, even though 30% aren't Jewish. It's actually running on time. You're actually probably going to get out of here at 9 unless you want to talk to any of these wonderful people. Harry Dekranian. I told you about him. I told you about our work on the Armenian National Committee, the recognition that we got the government, and he's just always there. As a matter of fact, do you remember the first big Armenian march that started in Westmount, outside of a little church near Westmount Park? And you were in the front, and I was marching with you, and Harry was on my other side. This is, when was the last year you were mayor? 2017. That was the year. 10,000 people marched for Armenia into downtown. The march started in Westmount. He led it, and you were in the first. But that was the biggest one. I really should have done this by somehow alphabetical order instead of looking, because they're all waiting. Harry Ukrainian, you're a great friend. You're a great Montrealer. Thank you for your courage. Yes.
I didn't know I was getting an award tonight until maybe an hour before the event, and I thank Beryl for thinking of me and for thinking of my community. Beryl has been a steadfast supporter when it came to the recognition of the Armenian genocide. When he was at the Suburban, our letters would go in, our columns would always go in. And I can think of two important words that really resonate today, because sometimes we feel like the politicians, the many politicians, simply don't listen to us when we're calling out, when we're seeking their support. And that is solidarity and collaboration. If we can work together, especially when it comes to City Hall, we can achieve great things. And I think Beryl has been a steadfast supporter of communities working together and coming together. You know, when former Mayor Denis Coderre said, and Minister Coderre said, Am Israel Chai, that's obviously Am Israel Chai. We need... Armenia was able to break free from the Soviet yoke, one of the first republics to become a nation. Israel also is a nation, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that is something that needs to be celebrated again and again and again. And what I think of, you know, for all of the honorees this evening, I don't know if all of you feel this way. I know I do. It's one of the important philosophies of my life, and that is to live your life under the principle of tikkun olam. As long as we can help make the world a better place, that's how our life has meaning. So thank you, Beryl, and thank you to the Jewish community, and let us continue working together. The Italian, the Hellenic, the Black, and all the other communities that make Montreal as great as it is. Thank you, Beryl.
Thank you, Harry. Joseph Broccolini. I told you before what he is, what he does. I'm going to tell you something else. The new alliance, there's always been something intuitive that drew Jews and Italians together. But the new alliance between the Jewish and Italian community that this man is so involved with will change Montreal. We are the second biggest bloc of interest, let me put it that way. And I'm not going to go into what goes on behind the scenes, but it scares the hell out of the worst elements in this city, the worst elements in government, that this has happened. And between Joe Broccolini and Eric Bissell, they made it happen, and we've all worked together. This is a giant, not only in his community, but in this whole country, and we're going to redeem this city with the help of Joseph Broccolini. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Beryl. It's truly a privilege and an honor to receive this award. And I just want everyone to applaud the work that Beryl's doing with the Institute of Public Affairs. Beryl, keep it up. We'll support you right to the end. And we love you. And you know, Eric is another prime example of the strength of the Jewish community and what we can do together, all of us. So thank you again.
Mille grazie, fratello. when I said to you, you had homework, and that homework was to act and to get out of the doldrums that the Jewish communities used to be in mentally. What Joe was saying, there's a great line from the father of Italian unification, Giuseppe Mazzini, great philosopher, and a young prince of the House of Savoy who was king of Sardinia wrote him. Mazzini was hiding in southern France because there was a death warrant out on him from the Papal States. So while Garibaldi was unifying Italy with guns, Mazzini was the philosopher. This young king, his father had died, didn't know whether he wanted to be on the throne. He didn't like the treachery at court and everything else. So he wrote Mazzini a letter. What should I do? And Mazzini wrote back a famous answer. And that answer goes to the Jewish community, it goes to every community that, in Jim Bass's words, has pushed its shoulder against the door. Si voi non fate, altre faranno, e contro voi e senza voi. If you don't act, others will, without you and instead of you. And that's the life that Joe Broccolini has led, has been a life of action, and that's what we have to do as well. Ladies first, Leslie, then you go.
Thank you.
I don't think that people understand. When you're fighting for Iranian civil rights, that's hard enough. I don't think people understand just how many Persians, I won't call them Iranians because the ones that are anti the regime call themselves Persians, are endangered. There's a lot of agents, thanks to our federal government. We now know there's 700 IRGC people, and yet Mandana Javan takes on the cause of a late Quebec, d'un Québec démocratique, d'un Québec civilisé, sans aucune soumission à n'importe qui. Et sa courage, c'est incroyable. Ladies and gentlemen, Mandana Javan.
Thank you very much. I'm really, truly honored and humbled to be here today. Thank you to the Montreal Institute of Public Affairs, to Beryl Weitzman for this initiative. I would like to thank Dr. Gerald Baptist, who was the first person in the communities in 2024 who talked to me and who listened to me, actually, much more than talking, and who opened some doors. And at first, I was not very hopeful because I'm, Iranian-born person. But Karen Toledano, my very dear friend that we work together, thank you very much, Karen. And Alisa Yufe, thank you. Thank you, Beryl Weissman, and many others like Yair Slozak. Everyone has been there. We have done a great allyship and a great teamwork all together. I'm a Muslim-born woman, and if I have chosen to immigrate to Canada, it's because I've chosen the Western civilization, Canadian civilization. You saw and you see that what's going on with Iranian people, how many 10,000s of people have been massacred. And me, I know, because I have been indoctrinated in the schools, and I know what does it mean when kids have brainwashed with this ideology. And I'm gonna do everything in my power in order to have this sense of and do what's necessary with this sense of responsibility to protect our civilizational heritage in Canada. Thank you.
Leslie Roberts is he thinks he's a politician. Now, and he's a great politician, but words matter and words follow him. And like Elias, who I'm also going to quote back to him, there has rarely been a journalist, a broadcaster. I have to use the same adjectives of both of them. Unequivocal. And I will never forget this line, among many others, of Leslie Roberts, who, by the way, as a member of the executive committee, has this almost the ideal portfolio in universities, colleges, Anglophone Montreal, and the west end of the city. But once Leslie wrote, because he got so furious, and I remember talking to him about this, about some politician in Ottawa or somewhere who had tweeted out something about a very heinous anti-Semitic act. And he wrote, "When hate strikes, a tweet isn't enough." That was his column. Nobody could have put it better. Leslie Roberts. Voilà, mon ami. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Beryl, for including me in this illustrious group. I am truly honored as a former journalist. I guess you don't ever become former. You kind of, it's for life. And newbie politician. I should be saying Monsieur le Ministre, Mr. Former Mayor, and other people as that goes in terms of protocol. But I will say what struck me tonight is, and it has since, especially knocking on doors with my friend Esther over there, and others, Dita, who also helped me out in my campaign. You all know Dita, of course. Dita Burku. Yeah, she's worked tirelessly as well. Was the theme that we feel alone. We feel that we are out fighting this war on our own. And I think by tonight, and the group of people here representing all of the communities of Montreal, really, and some in the audience as well, you're not alone. We're all in this together. And I want you to know that when I go to City Hall, you have friends at City Hall as well. Keep in mind that something else that Denis and I have in common is we're from the same party. He planted a very deep seed, and there's still a lot of the plants. Yes, and go Habs, exactly. And also the planting that Mr. Coder planted during his time there continues, and there are a lot of good people like Jim, you mentioned, and others, Jim Bass, who are great Montrealers who understand what Montreal represents and understands what your community represents. On a personal note, my trip to Israel was life-changing. I grew up even though I'm not Jewish, I grew up in a very Jewish neighborhood. You guys will know Wentworth School. I was one of 3 non-Jews in grade 6 French immersion, and I came home and I told my mom, I want to be Jewish. And because they get more holidays. And she kind of looked at it, and it was actually very prophetic because my first partner was Jewish. When my daughter was time to go to camp, I sent her to Camp B'nai B'rith. I can tell you many years later, when she became an adult, and she started dating Erwin Kotler's son, Yanni, she came home and she said to me, "Dad, I've come home." Because the years that she was at Camp B'nai B'rith, the relationships that she had, she said, I connect with that community, whether it's a Shabbos dinner, whether it's a Passover Seder, she said, that's my connection. I just want to add quickly, my brother, Rob, is a member of the family who also stands up very much for the Jewish community. He's editor-in-chief of the National Post. Yeah. We're very proud of Rob for what he's doing as leadership in this community. After October 7th, he made a decision to lean in to the Jewish community, and he is responsible for the editorial at the National Post. So I'm a very proud brother. I want to give him a shout out. But you're not alone. That's the most important message. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Right, yeah, I know. I complimented Terry Newman. He complimented his brother. It's a National Post conspiracy up here. I write for the Post. I get it. I know. It's a bad thing. Elias Makos. You know, a lot of people were not happy when Bell Media pulled the newsrooms out of every radio station they owned across the country. Thankfully, Montreal, CJD 800, has one massive redeeming feature, Elias Makos. And I was going through his writing, as I was through yours, Leslie, and this is Elias Makos. This is on air. Anti-Semitism must be called out plainly, regardless of whether it comes from the right, from the left, or is cloaked in anti-Israel activism. Jewish Montrealers have a right to feel safe, and governments and police have a responsibility to enforce existing laws against intimidation, hate crimes, and incitement. That's it. Brother Makos, it's a pleasure. You are a flame of courage.
You're the best. Thank you, Beryl. Thank you. I'm going to take a few moments here to provide some counter-programming after, what have we done? We're at an hour and 52 minutes. Because Beryl said a few things, and I need to respond. I think, Beryl, it's my time to talk. Beryl, I love him. Well, hold on a second. So, I think, how many times has Beryl said to this group, admonishing, berating you, stop analyzing? I'm here to say, keep analyzing. I've watched every episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've watched every Woody Allen movie. I've watched every Seinfeld episode. Keep analyzing. It's amazing. Do not stop analyzing. It's awesome. It's how you get so much in life. So I'm going to advocate for the analyzers like myself. Analyzing is good. Another word that's come up a lot here, action. Action, we need action. I'm here to say the opposite. Now bear with me, because there are a lot of people, boy, do they act. Anita Anand, boy, does she act. Does the wrong thing. So it's not enough to act. If you're acting, but you keep making bonehead decisions and bonehead acts, not helping us. So yes, we need action. Get back to what Beryl was saying, we certainly do. There are a lot of people acting in this country. I think one thing that hasn't come up enough tonight is the void in Ottawa, which is why we're in the position we're in. So yes to action, but, some people stop actioning, okay? Listen, just before I came here, I was at the U.S., the big U.S. consulate event downtown for their 250th birthday of the United States. Ambassador Hoekstra was here. And I do want to spend a moment, and I'm Mandana Javan. By the way, this stage here, how many of you people have been on my show? And for those of you who haven't, what are you waiting for? Okay, that's true, the invitation. So the invitations are coming. But when Mandana Javan, when she's been on my show, and she's a sweetheart, but I thought it took far too long tonight to hear two words, and I wanted to jump out of my chair and just go crazy when she said Western civilization. So we got to think about that. We have to fight for it. It's really important. And for the people on this stage who are fighting for it, I say, keep at it, keep that action going. That's what I got to say. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Elias, they want to. Not sure who came in the longest. You shoot back from West Island, or you from St. Lazare, Joel? So Joel de Belfig, come here. First, because where you live. Oh, jeez. Thank you. As I said, Joel de Belfig has enough going on in his life, and he got involved with our issues. He spoke, and when he speaks, media pays attention. And during one particular episode that happened, he came out in the middle of an issue that concerned members of the Black community in Côte-des-Neiges. But there had been an anti-Semitic incident, and Joel said, leaders of all religious faiths must unite to denounce this despicable act and reaffirm that there's no place for anti-Semitism or racism in Canada. Joel de Bellefeuille, founder and president of the Red Coalition.
Thanks, Beryl. I'm going to give you that. You do, I know, but 1 second. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I got a few words to say, but just to start with, I've been hearing two things that keep resonating over and over, which is community and strength. And Mr. Cordair, you said about putting up and shutting up and action from Elias, a lot from Beryl and everybody else on the stage. But again, it falls down to community and strength. So I put something together. Luckily, those turds of words kept popping up. But basically, I'm deeply honored to accept this recognition tonight. Beryl, everybody involved with it. I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to Congregation Chambre Labucker, I hope I said that right, the Institute for Public Affairs of Montreal, and everyone involved in organizing this event this evening. To be recognized by a community that's demonstrated such resilience, strength, and commitment to preserving human dignity is both humbling and meaningful. Throughout my life, I've had the privilege of meeting people from many different backgrounds, such as everyone here, faiths, cultures, and experiences. One lesson has remained constant. We accomplish more when we choose dialogue and community over division. We accomplish more when we choose to stand beside one another, especially during difficult moments. The work of building stronger communities is rarely accomplished by a single person or single organization. It's built through relationships. It's built through trust, and it's built through the willingness of people from different communities to come together around shared values. Values such as respect, dignity, and fairness. Values such as freedom of conscience and belief, and the belief that every member of our communities, deserves to be treated with equal worth and equal respect. Those principles have guided much of the work that I've been fortunate to undertake through the Red Coalition and alongside many community partners over the years. Tonight's recognition is particularly meaningful because it reflects something larger than any one individual. It reflects the importance of solidarity and the strength that comes from communities supporting one another. The Jewish community has long been an example of that spirit through its resilience, leadership, and enduring commitment to preserving human dignity. It is a reminder that communities are strongest when they support one another, that listening matters, that empathy matters, and that every person deserves to feel respected, valued, and welcomed. I've always believed that meaningful progress begins when people are willing to sit at the same table, listen to one another, and seek common ground. That spirit is present in this room tonight, and it's one of the reasons I remain optimistic about the future. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, congregation, Beryl, all the participants, winners of these awards tonight, in coming forward and stepping ahead of all the issues that we face to protect and move ahead with their communities. So I really appreciate it, and I want to share all this honor with everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Subhash, you know, come up here. Subhash Khanna, chair of the Hindu Mandir. When I sent out invitations for tonight, and I sent one to Patrick Gethsemane, who's the chair of the Jewish community, he had one comment. He said, well, after I'm coming, he said, I'm glad to see my friend Subhash is being honored. Maybe a lot of you don't know his name, but in his quiet way, he has organized, has led a community, and not forgotten everybody else. I can't remember one event. I can't remember one incident where Shubesh hasn't spoken out. I can't remember one Israel rally where he's not in the front row, usually with the Consul General of Israel. It's truly a pleasure. When we talk about the silent majority, Shubesh Kana is one of the leaders in his quiet, determined way, civilized way. It's not the silent majority, it's the civilized majority. Shubesh Kana, it's a pleasure to present you with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Beryl, for this honor. I feel very privileged to receive this award. First and foremost, I bring you the greetings from the Indian community. And India and Israel have been very close friends recently, although the history of Jews living in India goes few centuries. And I was just reading an article lately that some of the Jews about 500 years ago moved to a city called Bombay, and Bombay was a small town at that time, and they used to press oil and they used to make oil. And these guys will take their Sabbath, the day off, and these guys were called the Sabbath oil makers. So nobody will go and disturb them on the day of the Sabbath. The Jews prospered. They lived there for many centuries, and at one time their population was close to 45,000. And then when the state of Israel was established in 49, they started moving back to Israel and to the other parts in Europe and North America. Still, we have, few thousand Jews living in India, and they are the pride of the Indian community because they have served in the army as the general of the army. They have served in political sphere as well as in science and in technology and in our space agency. So I wish that the friendship of the Jewish community, not only here, but in India and Israel, live for a long time to come. Chai Israel.
I can't remember exactly when James de la Paz and I met, but I was on the same streets. Come up here, James. It was on the same streets of Côte-des-Neiges where we both grew up. And there was very little that his community needed that I wasn't there for, and there was never a time. If you wanted to organize, I say this about two people, by the way. I don't know, is Dado Ben Brit still here? We are running on time, by the way. If you guys had left the cocktail 7 minutes earlier, but there's two people in social activism that I say, if you want 500 people in an hour to show up somewhere, call Dado Ben Brit for the Jews and call James de la Paz for the Filipinos, because he will fill everything. They all listen to him. Yes, he's president of the Quebec Society of Filipino Associations, but that doesn't say it all. To go back to Jim Bass's quote, talk about pushing your shoulder against the door. Few communities know that recently, the way the Filipino community knows that, and few communities have contributed to this city the way the Filipino communities have done it, without anger and rancor and threats and demands. Probably the least demanding community. They came here, like most of us did, for better lives and to work hard and to be good neighbors. And James de la Paz and the Filipino community represents that.
I should say thank you, Beryl. I really didn't expect this, and I really don't need this. When it comes to supporting Israel, it goes a long way. As I grew up, my dad is a strong believer of Israel. He actually had a library in the Philippines. That's the reason why when we are growing up, actually we read about Moshe Dayan, Golda Meir, and all these respectable people that created Israel. So now I'm going to tell you a short story because I know it's been too long. My dad named one of my brother Israel de la Paz. And it's so funny that he applied for a job. He is actually an engineer. He applied a job going to the Middle East. And he was refused because of his name. So my dad changed his name. My dad told him, there's no problem because we have connection also locally in the Philippines. So my dad changed his name to Ismael. And mind you, he passed. And my dad was telling me, see that? They don't read anything about the Jewish community. That's the reason why all of you should read the books that I've saved for you guys. He passed away actually here in Canada. And the last word he mentioned to us is, nobody, no one will defeat Israel. The reason for it is that's the only country in the Middle East that practice democracy. They believe. So therefore, we're proud to be associated. Our community has always been a strong supporter of Israel because of that way that Israeli government is governing the country, a democratic way of life. Thank you very much.
You're not last. You're certainly not least. George Tanstiros. Did I get it right? Come on. I've been practicing. Tanstiros.
That's pretty close.
That's okay?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
George is executive director of the Hellenic Community of Greater Montreal. As I said, the president, Metro Basil Angelopoulos, couldn't make it tonight, so he's accepting the award. Frankly, for the Hellenic community, which I referred to enough tonight. I think you guys packed this place, because there's Maria Papopoulos from the Hellenic Initiative. I mean, you guys packed the joint. They packed the joint tonight, Joe. We've got to fix this. And then the next one. This is first of a series, by the way. I couldn't get everybody. All the Quebec voices, the non-Jewish voices against anti-Semitism in one night. So this is the first three, but you know, we got to talk to Barry, we got to talk to Vince, and we got to get the other, you know, Butino and all the others, because you know, these guys packed the hall today, and you know, you guys are 4 times their size. So really, Elias, what did you have to do with this? Did he have something to do with this?
I have no comment.
George Sancito. If I mispronounce your name, pronounce it right.
Thank you so much, and I won't hold you to that barrel. It's something perhaps that we share in common. We have long and complicated names with the Jewish community, and we take good pride in that. It gives me great pleasure to be here as Executive Director of the Hellenic Community of Greater Montreal, and on behalf of our President, Basil Angelopoulos, and on behalf of all Greeks of Quebec, to accept this incredible distinction. And I express my sincere gratitude to the Institute for Public Affairs of Montreal and to our good friend Beryl for this meaningful recognition. We are humbled, of course, to be included among such distinguished individuals and organizations whose leadership has strengthened the bonds between our communities. The relationship between the Greek and Jewish people is built upon more than just friendship. It is founded upon a shared history, common values, and a long-standing commitment to human dignity. During one of history's darkest chapters, many Greeks chose courage over indifference. We remember Archbishop Damaskinos of Athens, who publicly condemned the persecution of Greek Jews and mobilized the church to assist those facing deportation. We remember Metropolitan Chrysostomos and Mayor Lucas Carrera of Zakynthos, who refused to cooperate with the Nazi demands, and they helped save the island's entire Jewish population. Their actions remind us that the measure of a society is found not only in its words, but in its willingness to defend its neighbors when it matters most. These examples are not merely moments from history, they are enduring lessons. They teach us that solidarity isn't an act of convenience, it is an act of principle. Today, as we confront a troubling rise in anti-Semitism and other forms of hatred, those lessons remain as relevant as ever. When prejudice targets one community, it threatens the fabric of our entire society. The fight against anti-Semitism is therefore not solely a Jewish concern, it is a responsibility shared by all who believe in justice, equality, and democratic values. Our city's strength has always come from its diversity, from communities that preserve their unique identities while contributing to a shared civic life. The Greek community this year celebrates its 120th year since its foundation, and it's an important year for us. And it stands proud alongside the Jewish community and alongside all communities in defending the right of every person to live in a society that is safe, where every person can live with dignity and the freedom from discrimination. On behalf of our president, Basil Angelopoulos, and the entire Greek community, I accept this award with gratitude and humility. And we do so not only in recognition of past acts of solidarity, but as a renewed commitment to continue building bridges, fostering understanding, and standing together against hatred in all its forms. Thank you so much.
Thank you, George. That was exceedingly eloquent. It's just. Joe, they didn't completely pack the joint. I have to recognize Maria Battaglia, President of the Canadian Italian Congress from Quebec.
There you go.
And Gobind Tanwani, who's chair of the India-Canada Organization. Not a competitor. But I have to say to you. Am I missing it? Did I miss? I don't think I missed anybody else. Where am I getting Yaz from? Who? Oh, Kenny, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tonight. Thank you for coming. This is what, hang on, there's one more little thing. This is what a community is about. This is what strength is about. This is the action I want you to go out of here with. This is your homework. Turn to your neighbors, get out of your bubble, get out of your corner. Nous sommes tous les Québécois et Québécoises, nous sommes tous unis. Et quand la chanson nationale dit Gens de pays, c'est votre tour, that's what it means. Go and engage.